After months of congressional negotiations and a delay of his own in agreeing to the measure, President Trump on Sunday signed into law a $900 billion stimulus package that prevents the government from shutting down, enables unemployment benefits to continue, extends a moratorium on evictions, and offers a desperately needed lifeline for struggling small businesses. The passage of this economic stimulus bill is a metaphorical shot in the arm for small business owners who have suffered disproportionately during the COVID pandemic. It renews the Paycheck Protection Program (PPP), created as part of the March 27 CARES Act that aided millions of American small businesses until PPP expired on August 8. The renewal of this program now comes at a time when many small businesses are barely able to survive as the pandemic's second wave sweeps the country and as local governments enact measures aimed at stopping its spread. The so-called PPP Second Draw is intended to provide loans with a maximum amount of $2 million for smaller and harder-hit businesses that previously applied for and received PPP funding. Companies seeking to secure this funding must employ less than 300 employees and must have already used or intend to use the full amount of money granted in their first round of PPP funding. They also must demonstrate at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts during the first, second, or third quarter of 2020 relative to the same quarter of 2019. An eligible organization may only receive one PPP Second Draw loan. The legislation includes economic aid to minority-owned businesses and nonprofits to help them recover from the pandemic. The deal includes over $284 billion for forgivable PPP loans and dedicates set-asides for very small companies and lending done through community-based lenders like community development financial institutions and minority depository institutions. $15 billion for PPP loans initial and second draw issued by community development financial institutions CDFIs, and minority depository institutions MDIs, and $15 billion for PPP loans initial and second draw issued by certain small depository institutions. $35 billion for first-time PPP borrowers, $15 billion of which for smaller, first-time borrowers with 10 or fewer employees, or loans less than $250,000 in low-income areas, $25 billion for second-draw PPP loans for smaller borrowers with 10 or fewer employees, or loans less than $250,000 in low-income areas. $25 million for the Minority Business Development Centers program under the Minority Business Development Agency MBDA, $57 million for the Microloans, $50 million for PPP auditing and fraud mitigation purposes. This deal also includes $15 billion in dedicated funding for live venues, independent movie theaters, and cultural institutions, which have seen their attendance reduced to zero, or close to it, for many months.